Welcome everyone. I'm going to have some footage today from my front squats and also just talk to you guys a little bit about me possibly competing in powerlifting, just kind of my take on training right now. So I'll let you guys just kind of critique my form. I'm not going to talk too much about it. The reason why I'm doing this is because I pretty much maxed out the hack squat like machine at my rec gym where I usually deadlift at. So any kind of another quad movement on my sumo deadlift days, I may end up just doing like a high bar squat or just squatting twice a week. But I figured I'd at least give front squats a try since this is my deload week and I'm pretty much taking it easy. So I actually went ahead and took 70% of my back squat and then performed 5 sets of 5 at 70% of that. So I didn't have a true 1 rep max off a front squat, obviously not having done this exercise consistently pretty much since high school. But I went ahead and looked some things up, and that's pretty much where I came with, and I wanted to, if anything, go too light today as opposed to too heavy. So yeah, I just hit 5 sets of 5. It felt pretty good. It was hard to feel like the lactic acid buildup and all those things that you should be having in your quads, because like I said, I was only hitting 5s. But the little research I did on it, it seems to be best used in the lower rep ranges just because you don't want your upper back to fatigue. You know, you want it to be a leg exercise. So this may be something I actually have in my routine. That's pretty much it as far as talking about front squats. Like I said, I'm not going to act like I know everything about them, so I definitely need to do more research about them. I tried to do that a little bit today. Like I said, just trying some new stuff on my deload week. And then second thing I want to talk about just during this video again, guys, was powerlifting and strength training as opposed to just the typical bodybuilding type of style. First off, if you're watching this video and you've only been training for like 3 months, 6 months, maybe even 9 months, I would highly recommend getting into people like Contreras and Rippetoe, and really running a program that may even be a full body 3 days a week, or maybe even upper lower like I'm doing 4 days a week, and just really hitting the compounds hard. The deadlifts, the heavy presses, the chins, the rows, the squats, obviously. Hitting those exercises and really focusing on getting those numbers up as opposed to your pump and your tricep push down strength and this new ab routine or whatever. You know, the fact of the matter is, even if it doesn't direct you into a direct relation to hypertrophy, you're just going to build such a good foundation that once you start to throw in some hypertrophy work, your results are going to be so much better. If there's one little thing that I could do, just kind of go back, it would be to start more intelligently, I would say, with a program like starting strength and just, you know, squat 2 or 3 times a week, deadlift 2 or 3 times a week, horizontal press 2 or 3 times a week, chins 2 or 3 times a week. You know, just focusing on maybe 2 or 3 movements in a workout, and just maybe every other day doing it that way, as opposed to, you know, my bro days where I'm hitting chest for, you know, 20 sets and all that. You know, you can't live in the past, like I said, but part of this is trying to help people out that were in my situation when I first started. So that's definitely something I'd recommend. Look into Rippetoe, look into Contreras, look into strength-based routines. I know it may not be the cool thing, you know, the bodybuilders aren't endorsing it or whatever, but you find out with a lot of natural athletes, they started with a really good strength base. And just from a common sense point of view, you just don't see a lot of people that are super strong into heavy movements that aren't muscular. So I'll just leave it at that. And lastly, yeah, these are just some deload deadlifts here. I just worked on my form. I got a few in. And then, yeah, I wanted to wrap it up talking about I probably will be competing in powerlifting before I will be competing in another bodybuilding show. Normally, just because it takes so long to build muscle. It's also going to take me a while to actually get some respectable powerlifting numbers up. So I'm definitely going to take a little while, but powerlifting is definitely something I want to get into. And again, I don't, like I've talked about before, I don't think the hypertrophy and powerlifting are so disconnected that people think. I think that getting really strong is going to help you build a lot of muscle as well. So I'll keep everyone updated on the powerlifting situation. It probably isn't going to be too